you know, the leaders there, and, you know, speaking to audiences. And, you know, for me, I said to myself, is this the beginning of a grand coalition? And I wouldn't mind an answer to that, would you?
It's not the beginning. It's actually follow-up to quite a lot of work that we've been doing. It's only that people have been blind to what...
No, I don't think people have been blind. I mean, we all read the press.
Maybe the media,
maybe
you guys in the media have been blind to what we have been doing, but we have been working.
Please don't forget you're also part of the Fourth Estate.
But I'm a politician. I'm a politician. I'm not part of the media.
But how you're answering is as answering as a politician. My question was very straightforward.
Yeah.
And I would like to know
that. And I thought as well, my answer was very straightforward,
yes,
that it was not the beginning.
It
but
is happening.
It's ongoing. It's an ongoing process.
Right.
We've been doing quite a lot of work
right,
behind the scenes. It's not everything that we do and we publicize in the media, but we've been working very hard to ensure that we build a coalition. And a coalition would make it very difficult for Zanu PF to rig the next election. It's going to be very difficult if we get a turnout, which will be around 84%. For Zanu PF to rig. If they have a discrepancy of more than 1 million votes, it's going to take them even more than 365 days to stuff ballots in ballot boxes. So what we are doing is we are ensuring that the process that we are undertaking now, the process of building confidence in our people, and even the BVR, it builds confidence in our people. It also, where it has been implemented in Zambia, it ensured that there were about 24.5% new voters that were registered in 2011 in Zambia. And the voter turnout was phenomenal. It was around 84%. And that makes rigging an election very difficult.
Thank you, sir. I'd like to come to you, Mr. Mafume. You touched on a number of aspects as well, but primarily your concerns were around your losing faith and hope in ZEC, and you called Justice Makarau and her sidekicks up to something, you know. You talked about how, you know, the procurement of the kits is not above board. You talked about our roads having smallpox, right? Fair and fine. My question to you still begins on this coalition, because you've definitely got our attention with this one. I'd like to hear from you, Mr. Mafume, if you could also confirm or deny that perhaps in 2018 there will be a grand coalition amongst all of you.
Yeah, well, there has to be. It's a must. There will be a coalition. We have already got a coalition in CORD, which a number of the parties here have signed. There's already a coalition in NERA, which participated and created the activities that we are talking about. So you can see that people are working towards a coalition in one form or the other. What people need to clarify is what the next coalitions will need to do besides conducting demonstrations together and so forth. So we have recognized, and we have said it from the start, that we need a great coalition. The people want it. It is a necessity, and we cannot defeat Zanu PF in our separate corners. We need to be united, and therefore we are working towards that. The mechanics might be difficult. There might be a few disagreements here and there, but events such as yesterday, they bring a warm feeling to the heart. They create a sense of hope, and they also show a sense of purpose in people. We will work around the variables of how we will then create an electoral coalition, because that is what matters. An electoral coalition that is able to field candidates in a united manner and then be able to overwhelmingly defeat Zanu PF. Because defeat Zanu PF, we've done it before, but without being overwhelming, they simply recount the figures.
Thank you. I want to come to Mr. Mwonzora here. I want to ask you about this process toward election. Oftentimes as citizens, we know for a fact that give it maybe 12 to 18 months before election, and every single party is going to be making noise. There's going to be this sudden interest in election registration and all these adverts and all this energy, yet you've had 5 years in between. Not to say you've not been doing anything, don't get me wrong, you have been. But suddenly the pressure hots up just before elections are about to happen. Then you want to come back and blame ZEC and say that ZEC is not ready, ZEC is not organized, ZEC hasn't raised the money. But as political parties, should you not be focused on getting the citizens and the electorate excited about elections, as opposed to now, 12 months before elections, no, biometric, I feel like the priority is a little bit warped, and I'd like to know why 12 months before there's so much pressure.
Well, unfortunately, I have to speak for my party.
Fortunately, it's fine.
Yes.
Thanks.
I wish I was going to speak for others as well, because this is a national platform and I would really love to speak on behalf of others. But speaking for the MDC, the last election was in 2013, and in 2014 the MDC held its Congress, and at its Congress it established three important things. The first one was the Electoral Roadmap. From 2014 to 2018. That establishment of an electoral roadmap is preparation for elections. It's not waiting for 2018. It was done in 2014. Number two, the MDC came up with a list of demands for electoral reforms and went on to craft a document. First, the document was called Without Reforms, No Elections, which was a document which codified all those reforms that were supposed to be done to make sure that we have an even playing field. After that, the MDC, together with other political parties, 13 political parties, established the National Electoral Reform Agenda in 2015. Again, this was a bigger group calling for electoral reforms. The MDC right now has already started asking people on what they would want to see in a new Zimbabwe. Our President Changrai, has been having meetings with the traditional leaders throughout the country. In my constituency alone, Nyanga alone, he had a meeting with 31 village heads. That is called preparing for elections. Making these noises now about an election that is about to be stolen is preparing for elections. Now, I want to answer the question, is ZEC compromised? And my answer is yes. ZEC is created in terms of the Constitution. It must make sure that elections are free and fair. It must deal with all election malpractices. Now let's go to by-election number one. I'm going to pick three. By-election number one, Hurungwe. The village heads in Hurungwe and the Zanu PF militia terrorized the people. And the Zimbabwe Human Rights Commission actually produced an adverse report. ZEC said nothing. Food was given only to Zanu PF people, and also people were not given food as a reprisal for not campaigning for Zanu PF. ZEC said nothing. In Norton, 5,000 stands were offered to people who would vote for Zanu PF. That is first-class vote buying. ZEC said nothing about it.
All right, I'm going to just interject there, sir. Sorry, sir, not to be rude. Please allow. Because we don't have much time, we've already about clocked 1 hour. We haven't even come to our audience yet. And I know that asking that question was very risky of me because I had a feeling it would have been answered like that, with every party defending what it is they've done over the past 5 years. And as I said, I'm not saying you have done nothing. I'm just noticing that the pressure has hotted up, and now here we are on a panel, now dissecting how registration is going to happen. Why now?
I was just going to say about ZEC. If it quacks like a duck, swims like a duck, flies like a duck, then it is a duck. Then it is Zanu PF. That's all I'm saying.
Sorry, the duck is Zanu PF?
Yes.
For the purpose of this panel, I do wish there was a Zanu PF representative, but nothing can be done regarding that. So we're going to come to questions from the audience. I believe we have some. So